house was exceptionally silent that afternoon, the kind of stillness that makes you aware of the soft buzz of appliances or the far-off singing of birds outside the window. I found myself alone in the living room, mindlessly flipping through a magazine I had no real desire to read. My husband, always engrossed in his work, was away on another business trip. I wasn't upset. This had become a regular occurrence. However, the lingering emptiness felt more pronounced than usual. I glanced at my phone, hoping for a message or a call, but there was nothing. The quiet underscored how predictable my life had grown, how routine had encased me like an unseen barrier. I loved my husband, or so I told myself, but over the years something had changed. Passion had dwindled into comfort, and comfort had gradually morphed into complacency. The sound of a car door shutting snapped me out of my reverie. I peered through the window to see my nephew Ethan approaching the house. He was my husband's younger brother's son, though he felt more like a distant cousin due to our small age gap. In his early 20s, Ethan exuded confidence and possessed a charisma that effortlessly attracted people. I opened the door before he could knock. "Hey, Ethan, what brings you here?" I asked, hiding my surprise with a smile. He beamed. "Uncle asked me to pick up some documents he left. Hope it's not a bad time." "Not at all. Come in," I replied, stepping aside as he entered. I couldn't help but notice how smoothly he moved and the vibrant energy he brought into the room. He threw his bag onto the couch and glanced around. "Nice place, as always. You've got great taste." I chuckled, dismissing the compliment. "Flattery won't get you out of trouble. What documents are you after?" He shrugged. "Something about property papers." I decided to check his study while Ethan headed there. As he made his way to the study, I reflected on how different he was from my husband. Ethan was spontaneous, charming, and unapologetically self-assured. Traits that had been missing from my everyday life for a long time. I shook off the thought, feeling a bit silly. He was family after all. But then Ethan returned with the papers, his sleeves rolled up to reveal a tattoo on his forearm that I hadn't noticed before. He caught me staring and smirked. "You like it?" "It's interesting," I replied, feeling slightly embarrassed. We sat down and chatted for a while, more than we ever had before. His stories were lively, filled with humor and adventure, a stark contrast to the monotony I had grown used to. His laughter was infectious and his presence was magnetic. For a short time, I forgot about everything. My husband, my responsibilities, the unspoken rules of propriety. In that moment, it was just Ethan and me, two people sharing a connection I couldn't quite define. Our conversation flowed naturally, filling the room with a warmth I hadn't experienced in years. Ethan leaned back on the couch, his eyes meeting mine a moment too long as he spoke. There was something about the way he listened, genuinely interested in every word I said, that was disarming, almost intoxicating. At one point, he reached for the glass of water I had placed on the coffee table, and our hands accidentally touched. The contact was brief, but left a lingering sensation in my mind. I instinctively pulled back, laughing it off, but I could feel the heat rising in my cheek. "Are you okay?" Ethan asked, his tone casual, but his eyes searching mine. "Of course," I said quickly, standing up to create some distance. "It's just warm in here, that's all." I walked to the kitchen, busily engaging in something without any real purpose. I could sense his presence, even from across the room, a subtle tension building that neither of us addressed. When I turned back, he was standing in the doorway, leaning against the frame with that same effortless confidence. "You seem different today," he remarked, his voice softer now. "Different how?" I tried to sound indifferent. "I don't know, maybe more alive." His words caught me off guard, and for a moment I was at a loss for how to respond. There was a sincerity in his tone that made it hard to dismiss as mere flattery. I felt seen in a way I hadn't felt in a long time, and it frightened me. "Ethan, you should probably go soon," I said finally, avoiding his gaze. "Well?" he asked, stepping closer. "Am I making you uncomfortable?" "No, it's not that," I quickly replied. "Just..." He pressed his eyes into mine, and I didn't have an answer. Or maybe I did, but I couldn't bring myself to voice it. The air between us felt charged, heavy with unspoken words and unacknowledged feelings. He was standing too close now, and I could feel my resolve weakening. "This isn't right," I whispered to myself more than to him. "I know," he said, his voice low and steady. "But doesn't it feel right?" I looked up at him, my heart racing in my chest. For a moment, the rest of the world faded away. It was just the two of us, suspended in a moment that felt both impossible and inevitable. He reached out his hand, brushing against mine, and I didn't pull away. The room seemed to contract around us, the distance between us vanishing as if it had never been there. My mind screamed at me to stop, to step back, to consider the consequences, but I couldn't move. Just as the tension peaked, the sound of the front door opening shattered the moment. My heart leapt into my throat as Ethan and I quickly separated, both turning toward the noise. My nephew Jake stood in the doorway, his expression a mix of confusion and suspicion. "Hey Jake," he said slowly, his eyes darting between us. "Am I interrupting something?" "No, of course not," I replied, forcing a laugh that felt hollow even to me. Ethan was about to leave. "Yeah, I was just grabbing some papers for Aunt," he said, addressing Jake with a casual grin. Jake raised an eyebrow, clearly not convinced. "Well, I guess it's good timing then. Uncle asked me to stop by and pick up the same papers." My stomach churned as I realized Ethan's excuse had been exposed. Jake's presence was a stark reminder of the line I had nearly crossed, and shame washed over me like a wave. "I think there's been a misunderstanding," I said quickly, desperate to regain control of the situation. "Ethan already has the documents. You don't need to be here." Jake didn't move, his eyes narrowing slightly. "Funny he didn't mention you'd be here." Ethan shrugged, his easy demeanor unchanged. "I didn't think it mattered. Aunt and I were just catching up, nothing more." The words hung in the air, seemingly harmless on the surface, but loaded with unspoken meaning. Jake seemed to sense it, his gaze lingering on me for a moment longer than was comfortable. "Well, I'll let you two continue," he said finally, his tone clipped as he turned and walked back out the door, leaving it slightly ajar behind him. The ensuing silence was overwhelming. Ethan looked at me, his expression unreadable.